The commercial solar designer and installer has a range of cables to select on the AC side. So picking the best cable for their best application requires a certain knowledge of what's out there. So when we talk AC cable, what are the two main conductor materials? The most common being copper, and the second most common being aluminium. Aluminium per weight is a better conductor per weight than copper, and also has more flexibility on the larger diameters. But it is not as good a conductor if I got a 630mm cable of copper compared to aluminium. Copper is the better conductor. Aluminium does have its advantages, but the designer and installer has to remember the interface. If you are joining copper and aluminium together, there are special requirements. Copper has a higher conductivity than aluminium, resistant to corrosion in unpolluted environments, but it doesn't like ammonia and sulfur fumes. Aluminium, on the other hand, has a conductivity that is approximately 60% of copper, but a lower melting point, and weight for weight is a better conductor than copper. How are conductors specified? Effectively by their material, as we've mentioned, aluminium or copper, by their CSA, which is their cross-sectional area, and how many strands that they actually contain inside. With copper, there are only 3 single-strand types of wire available: 1mm, 1.5mm, and 2.5mm. Anything else falls under the multi-strand banner, 7 strands to about 91. So when we talk about a copper conductor, it could be single strand or multi-strand, and the conductor itself could be single core or multi-core. When it comes to conductors, there are various sizes. With copper, it goes from 1 square millimetre up to 630 square millimetres. With aluminium, it starts a little bit higher, 16 square mil, up to 630 square mil, and with both of them, they come in various insulation materials. With the type of insulations, PVC tends to be the most common, then XLPE, rubber, oil-based materials, glass fibre, neoprene, paper is sometimes used for the underground submarine cables. The most popular is PVC, XLPE and TPS. Cables are classified with a set of criteria which include the material that the actual conductor is made out of, the cross-sectional area, the insulation material, the number of cable cores, the general construction of the cable, and the voltage grade. So what are the main cables used in commercial solar? PVC insulated, PVC orange circular, XL PVC single core and multi-core. Cross-linked polyethylene PVC comes in single core, copper and aluminium up to 630mm squared, and also multi-core copper up to 300mm squared. With PVC circular, has very similar specs as XLPE, but it doesn't last as long due to the composition of the insulation material. In most cases, XLPE is used over PVC circular due to its increased lifespan and its ability to withstand higher temperatures and its lack of lead, antimony, and it's basically halogen free. So from an environmental perspective, XLPE is the choice amongst most commercial solar PV designers when it comes to the AC side. Understanding the characteristics of the cable and the application is most important. There may be situations where PVC circular is used as opposed to XLPE. There may be cases where you're using a multi-core cable as opposed to a single core. This comes down to different styles of installation and the weights of the cables. Multi-core comes up in XLPE, comes up to the maximum of about 300mm square. And this is very, very, very heavy cable, and cable requirements over that size, let's say up to 630mm, generally come into a single conductor and not as a multi-core situation, because effectively they're incredibly heavy and very hard to handle cables. So know your cables, make sure you make the right selection based on the particular application.